So our next partner segment and the last one is all about communities. We all thrive in communities. We are thriving in one today. And we all have our preferred ones that we network with both physically and digitally. So let's find out how powerful it can be for brand advocacy with Tamanna Dhamija, CEO and co-founder, Convosight. Convosight is dedicated to empowering community leaders by unlocking their earning potential of their communities on Facebook and Reddit with professional tools, expertise, and brand connections all in one place.
Hi everyone, good to be here. My name is Tamanna. I'm the founder of Convosight, and we will talk all about communities, which are nothing but rooms full of people like this in the digital world and at massive scale. I realized the power of communities when I saw that 40% of all conversations in communities are around products or brands. That was a big wow. I couldn't believe how seamless that phenomena was in online communities and the pace at which communities were growing. And that's when I took a step back and we said, what if we create a platform that enables brands to tap into these communities, drive word of mouth, advocacy, all organically. So all the loved words by marketers. And that's how Convosight was born. But first, let me just take a step back and ask all of you, how many communities are you guys a part of on Facebook, WhatsApp? 5? We can just 10, 2. Is there anyone who's not a part of any community here on WhatsApp, Facebook, Telegram, Reddit? Can I see a show of hands if there's anyone who's not a part of any group? Whether you're a lurker or whether you're contributing, so all of us are a part of communities. Let's take a step back and understand who are these people who are building communities, especially Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups. What is their motivation? Who are the people who flock and join communities organically? So I'm going to play a video.
I started the community because I was very passionate and I always loved cooking. So cooking has always been a part and parcel of my life. You know, somewhere when I got married, I did not know see of cooking. So I thought of creating my own community where I can, you know, whatever I cook, I can share with my people and, you know, they can also likewise share their own recipes. I created a group in the year 2015 January. I added few of my college friends, my close friends, my neighbors, and that's it. 25 people I added, and it was like fabulous, seeing that jump. Today our group is 5 lakh members. Not everybody get a ticket to my community because I am very, very choosy. If members are added, I have to make sure that they are genuine. The conversation basically is all around food from morning breakfast till night dinner. One of the members, he had a plate of leftover rice. So a lot of people, they got into that post and they commented you can make some different varieties of recipes like chila, pakora and all that. A couple of days back, a woman, she added more salt into the food. Now what can be the solution? So a lot of moms, they came forward and they have suggested their solution there, to the problem. So it is like a quick fix. Basically, they come and get the solution.
So we just saw Nazia talk about her community, and then we saw that there are more than 1,000 such communities with 63 million members talking about all kinds of food. Snacking, non-veg food, restaurant food. That's the power and that's the kind of scale that exists in this section of the internet which is walled off. So at Convosight, when we saw this phenomena, we said to ourselves, what will it mean to create a Google for conversations and communities, which gives brand marketeers an ability to become a part of these rooms see what conversations are happening, learn from these consumers to be able to add more value. So I'm going to play a video and do a voiceover. We're looking at skincare as a category. And all these communities that you see, conversations at the bottom, is where we're going into. There's 45 million members in over 1,200 communities, which now we've aggregated and brought forth. It's like getting a sneak peek into all these rooms. And just look at this threaded conversation. Somebody's asking for a recommendation of a skincare product, and there's multiple brands mentioned: Aqualogica, Dermaco, Mama Earth, etc. So when I said that 40% of conversations talk about products and brands organically, it is sector agnostic. Whether it's food, beauty, you can see the brand share of voice. This is all organic because there's no paid marketing as such that happens in communities. You can see Dermaco, Mama Earth, Plum, etc. This is all organic across these 45 million members in 1,200 communities. There's a ChatGPT integration, I won't get into that. But this is the power of aggregating communities and bringing real conversations from real consumers out to brand marketeers. So we've seen the scale. There's 2 billion people that exist in communities today, across geographies, across topics, so hiking, biking, curly hair, thinning hair, acne, parenting, breastfeeding, digital marketing. There's a very, very large community which is called View from My Window. I think the number of member requests that community gets, I know it broke Facebook algorithm. So that's the power. Just try searching. There's a huge community called Octonation, which is octopus tattoos. So anything which is an interest area or a pain point, there are communities around it. And all these platforms that are mentioned here is where these communities exist. So I'm going to talk about an interesting phenomena, which is balconies and halls. All of us have seen the evolution on digital from balconies and halls. Right now I'm standing in a balcony, and you're all my followers. So think of this as how we all stepped online, whether we created a profile on Facebook, Instagram, etc. As individuals, brands, influencers, we stepped online by creating balconies or by following balconies. So broadcasting, and that's how digital started. But as we've evolved, we've all started also existing in halls. And that's a pull rather than a push, because this is of areas that we are interested in. So right now it's a balcony, and I'm sure later at drinks and dinner it'll be a hall, right, where we are talking to each other. Few differences between balconies and halls. One is push versus pull. All of the followers on balconies, whether it's 50 million followers for a brand page or an influencer, it's mostly through paid marketing. Whereas halls are built organically. I'm sure no one here has seen an ad to join a WhatsApp group, subreddit, Facebook group. It's all organic. In fact, they are gated, so only 70% of the people who request to join are given permission or access. Second, engagement, staggering difference between the engagement levels. 10% on an average in balconies versus 600% in communities. Of the engagement, if there are 100 engagements in a balcony, so 95 are reactions. In a community, if there are 100 engagements, 40 are conversations. So again, all of these I'll show later through case studies. Third is content creation. Who creates content in balcony? It's the owner of the balcony. So this content is created by me, and I'm delivering it. So it's mostly production quality branded content. Who creates content in communities? I know it's the last session. Who creates content in communities? Members. It's individuals, you and I, because we're talking to each other, not just being talked at. And that is what leads to the final point of what creates influence in a community. It's peer-to-peer. It's real people talking about our pain points, products, and categories. This is an example of how engagement multiplies. Massive UGCs, which are triggered, multiplied, word of mouth. So when we saw this phenomena, we were like, there's no way brands cannot have access to these communities. But then we took a step back and said, why is it that brands don't have access? And we realized just because there's no way to Brands were still playing catch up. Communities are not discoverable. Like I said, there was no Google of communities. They're not accessible. Even manually try joining a private community. And most likely you won't get access if you're not the right persona. There was no way to measure. So that's how we said that if this was possible, the era would be the end of broadcasting and the beginning of conversations, which is where Convosight was born. Think of us as a marketplace connecting communities and brands. Today we have access to 100,000 communities with 950 million members across those communities. 70% of that is in India. So think of this as a duplicated reach. And we've built tools for community admins to manage better communities, to monetize. And all of this access is through an app which physically gets installed in groups. So it's not just scraping, it's through legit access, and brands utilize our platform to get insights from communities, to close the loop through marketing and measure effectively. And just in terms of numbers, just in the last 9 months, there's been 31,000 campaigns with 3 million UGCs. These are 3 million people creating content around the brand or the product in communities. Sorry. Yeah. So these are some of the partners that we work with across CPG, Auto, Alcobev, etc. Multiple brands within these accounts is what we work with. Now, when we think of what are the objectives for brands, and I'll go through a couple of case studies, communities fit very squarely, whether it's a product launch, whether it's a category creation, and Ashirvad Atta trying to create the salience of Atta in South, or whether it's a new market penetration, concept testing, building brand salience. All of these jobs are possible in communities. And like I said before, communities form around pain points and interests. The community selection happens basis talkability. So if you are an Indulekha and you want to tap into communities, you will not just search basis demographic or region or custom audiences. We have the ability to select communities basis what people are talking. So if they are talking about hair fall or hair care, those are the communities that Indulekha will go target. So just think of the relevance. It's very, very sharp-shooted. It's going directly to the horse's mouth, to the consumers who are very interested in my category. And we enable all of that. This map is really interesting. We got this a couple of months back because this is all the dots that you see are the communities that we have access to across India. And when we get together in communities, we talk in our language of choice. So very heavy on vernacular, regional, going deep into Bharat. The 3 things that we enable, the capabilities that brands use is insights, marketing, which means going to the right set of communities and intervening through market, through a message, and then also community building. So I want to take a minute and talk about community building, how every brand has an owned asset or a real estate, either on a .com or social, a Facebook page, Instagram, LinkedIn. We now give brands the ability to build their own communities where they coexist with the consumers, whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's a WhatsApp group, and there are several brands for whom we are building communities. Multiple brands within Unilever, Nestle, Hero, all these brands are building their first communities globally with us. So let's get into what does it deliver for brands. I'll quickly go through a couple of case studies. The first one is wheat. Wheat did its biggest relaunch last year after multiple years. We all know that hair removal creams as a format have a lot of myths associated with them. Most importantly, the biggest myth is it's chemical and it's tied to the smell. So this was a big relaunch. The job to be done here was to bust those myths, get more positive sentiment, get more trialists into the new wheat pure. We targeted 800 communities, and the overall members, so there's a typo there, 9 million was for one intervention. Overall, we reached out to 32 million members. there was 1 million engagement, out of which 330,000 were UGCs. And these were the kind of UGCs that came. So remember when I said if there are 100 engagements in balconies, 5% are comments, 95% are reactions. Most of the people scroll, 95 react, and 5 comment. But in communities, I said out of 100, on an average, 35 to 40% are conversations. You see that. Out of 1 million, 330,000 UGCs. And you look at the length of those posts. And various different cohorts, whether it's point of market entry for younger girls, or mom sharing, or women sharing. I'll talk about Maggie next. So all of us love the Maggie hot and sweet ketchup. The idea here was to increase occasions and make it a daily usage product. So how to become like a chai time snack, and chai time is a moment which families enjoy. So here again, reached out to 42 million members across various cohorts, various geographies, and overall UGCs, 110,000 UGCs. Again, these were the kind of UGCs here. So here again, the job to be done was increase occasions of usage, make it a daily use snack time product. And you can see how people shared recipes with Maggie. There were lots of UGCs where people are sharing family pictures. So that's the power. Overall for Maggie, across their products, which is noodles, the masala magic, and hot and sweet, we've generated over 500,000 UGCs in the last 11 months. This one is very special, very close to my heart. It's a purpose-led campaign. It's also been nominated today for an award, which is Dove Stop the Beauty Test. And again, this campaign ran across channels, but it was only communities where we got 11,000 UGCs. This campaign was run on a smaller scale of 2 million members. 11,000 UGCs, and average UGCs had a length of more than 150 words. So this is where people came, shared their heart out on their experiences. I'll talk about a community building case study now. This is for Hero. Do any of you have Hero X-Pulse here? Owners? Because if yes, then you'll be allowed in our community. So X-Pulse is a bike which has, a lot of fandom around it. There were lots of communities which users had created. So auto is a very interesting category because users go and build branded communities around it. But Hero wanted to co-create a space with their customers. So only owners of X-Pulse in this community. We've launched this 2 months back. There are 5,000 members, and by the way, to enter the community, you have to give a WIN number. You don't get accepted. So the acceptance ratio here is less than 50%. 596% engagement, which means one person engages 5.96 times in a month. 38x member to admin ratio. Sorry, I know too many numbers, but this is what can highlight the scale of engagement. 38x means for every one admin post, there are 38 member posts. And I'll show you the kind of posts. These are the kind of posts that we see by members. They are organizing rides among themselves. There are female riders. It's become a cult already. So these were some of the examples. I have 2 minutes left. Let's start the conversation now. Enough of the balcony. So happy to take any questions. We also do a lot of community learning sessions for our brand partners, agencies. So if you're interested, you can scan this QR code and send us a request on WhatsApp. But happy to take any questions. So I don't know if we've done anything B2B. I'm looking at my team here. We've not done anything B2B primarily because, and we did have requests, like I know there were requests from Nescafe to look for professional communities. there's not enough, like, there's requests for truck driver communities. So depending on the use case, we can only do something if communities exist on Facebook or WhatsApp, but I don't think we have any B2B use cases so far. Yeah, so we access existing communities on social, and we access it through our app. Like I said, we've built the tech. So if you're a Facebook, let's say you create a community of all of us today called MMA Smarties, which I think we should do, so that we can all stay engaged, right, and connected. But if you're the admin, you will physically install our app within your Facebook group. Our app is there on the Facebook App Store. You do it because you get tools to better manage your community, but you also monetize through brand partnerships. So there is a significant revenue share for community admins. Yes.
A very important aspect is trust. So there's somebody like me who I can connect with, and hence you need that sort of organicness for members to have certain trust on the community and the advice that they're getting. How do you ensure that when brands want to participate, that trust is still maintained and it doesn't feel very like a push where you're trying to force fit it into a conversation?
Sure. So this was one of the biggest problems which we had to figure out when we said that, look, we have to solve this. So I'll tell you how. One, our matching algorithm is very, very strong. So if you are a food and a snacking community are talking about noodles, have an organic share of voice of Maggie, you as an admin would get the option or notification to opt into that campaign. And you can decide to opt in or not. So that's one. The starting point is, like I said, that 40% of conversations are as it is product or brand. It's an area of interest for you. Now let's say you also play soccer. You're also in a soccer community. Now Maggie, maybe they can, but in a soccer community, you wouldn't want to see that. But if you're a part of a snacking community or, where we are already talking about this, there if a Maggie comes and talks, it's much more relevant. So first is the matching, very, very relevant. Second is the content is created and posted by the admin, and it has some emotional and functional resonance. So MMA Smarties here has Convosight because it's somewhere relevant to each one of you. So that's, and then it's the admin who's the most trusted influence, who's talking about it, and then people engage, they comment, they can say, I hate Maggie also, that's totally fine, but it's all organic, and it's not a covert marketing.
Sorry, last question. I know the bell rang. I'm here.
Yeah.
So the question is, you are obviously doing a monetization with the admin. Does this come under the ASCII rules and the new rules that have that manage influencer marketing? Because this is a person who is getting paid to talk about brands, while the admin is asking normal UGC, but the admin themselves are getting monetizing the content. So how are the rules getting managed there?
Sure. So we started, like I said, when we started, we were very clear of few things. One, we have to solve for scale. Second, measurement. And third, transparency. We did not want this to be a covert marketing. So since the get-go, the admin discloses that this is an initiative by whatever, a Hero or a GSK or for vaccine awareness, etc. So that's it. There's the disclosure even before actually ASCII guidelines came into play. Thank you all.